So I'll have this talk will be in English. This talk is about how we took our single-player game and we made it into a multiplayer-based game. And about the challenges that we took when we had our single-player game Underdogs needed to be translated to a multiplayer experience. So first things first, what's Underdogs? Underdogs is a physics-based mech brawler released for the Quest on the start of 2024. You pilot the mech, and every movement you make, the mech makes with your arms. So when you're punching things, you're actually punching with your arms. It's VR. When we try to nail down what made it tick, when we're trying to take the single player and move it in the multiplayer, we noticed that the thing that we really like is that when we hit something, it's physically believable, and we come back to the junk dogs, which are our first enemies, and how they interact after a punch is what we always come back to when we're like, oh, it's not really clicking for us. The other thing that made the single player click is that players comes from back from the single-player experience with stories of glory. Like when you have enough damage to your arm, it can fall off, and you're now trying to win this fight with one arm. They always tell us, oh, I've lost this arm, and I'm in this arena, and I won. And it's great to hear these experiences from the players. So keeping both these lenses, we turn to try to make this into a multiplayer experience. What we envisioned in the multiplayer experience was always based on PvP. When we released a trailer for Underdogs, everyone was like, can I hit the other players? Can I punch my friends? But the translation is not direct. You need to have a fight of equals when you're talking about something that's a PvP. It's not a junk dog that you can just hit willy-nilly and just throw in outside the arena. We needed a real prolonged exchange, fun to hit the other player, and we also learned that it's also very important to have it fun to be hit. And this is what the talk is about, how we got there. But we didn't really got there in a straight line. So something we keep noticing in the studio is we kind of have an idea. We try to make it fun, and it fails. And months later, we come back to that same idea, and we noticed that we have the missing elements to make it work. We really wanted PvP to work right off the bat, but we went on a development spiral instead. From first, we made the cage in 2025, the start of 2025, and we attempted to make a PvE attempt, and then we made a gimmick multiplayer game called Ball Tag, and all along this way in the journey, we're collecting the ingredients to get this cage experience, this PvP experience that we're coming with, coming out this week. About a year in 2025, a year into Underdogs, we started tackling the multiplayer for real. The vision was a hangout. We kind of envisioned a neighborhood basketball court, which was a cage and not a basketball court, and you have mechs inside, and you're punching each other, and you're destroying the other player's mech. The first job was translating our physics stack into something consistent and fluid online, and we didn't really know how to do that. Physics-based games, when translated online, are janky and do not really feel fluid. So we didn't know how to do it, but we tried. And we needed all the clients to come in agreement on the truth of the gameplay. So who hit who and what the result was, and most importantly, how far did you get pushed when you're making this online? So for the simulation to be interactive on every client kind of needs to run its own physics simulation of every object, because you're not interacting with something remote. You need to interact with something that's in here. You really need to interact with it at the time. And what we started doing was we used the inputs of the other players to solve everything. Like here you can see that the left and the right do not agree on how the arms are solved. But this is on purpose, because it gives us the fluency, the fluidity of the simulation just based on the input of one player against the other player. So you're not like making a gesture that's only reacted by the other player in 100 milliseconds delay. So the two machines quietly disagree, and the divergence is on purpose. But some information is more important than other information, and we needed to find a solution to have a truth that's shared with all the other players. So for the mech's locomotion, for instance, which is where the mech is, we used something we call sync joints. And a sync joint is just any physics joint in the game. It just drives what physics object we want to be in that position to the truth that we decided on. So I might decide on the truth that where I am, my position is, and you're going to physically drive it to that position. And so now you're interacting with something that's still fluid, but kind of imposes some sort of truth. And when we have a big error, we kind of just, you're way too far behind what we expected, so let's just teleport you to that location. But not everything can be done that way. So for a hit to feel instant, which is all about like making a game that every hit has to feel instant, we need to put that truth aside for a bit and also have all the clients agree on the result. So when I hit you, my machine suddenly has to decide on the hit and where you're going to end up in. But what your machine doesn't even know that I hit you. It's like 100 millisecond delay. I'm hitting you. I don't want to put you in your location that you think you are. You don't know you were hit yet. So we take control of you locally for that hit, and we push you locally for the simulation to be fluid. To compensate for the lag, we push you locally slower than you would be pushed on your end. So to the left, you can see my 100 millisecond or 150 millisecond mech pushing the other player, while the other is his side, what he sees. And you see how they can align with this lag compensation. So the neighborhood cage was shaping up tech-wise, but coming from single player, our mechs were big and bulky. You couldn't actually see the other player entirely when you were trading hits. You'd get hit by an arm that you didn't see. Because the other mech wasn't really fitting into view, we made a really, really big gorilla mech. And we needed something was not working there. We were just not able to react, and it was just like a bitch-slapping contest against each other. And we tried to impose things on a hit to tone down the ability of instantly hitting you back. We got to the basic truth that we knew from all this time developing Underdog single player, that imposing a loss of control in VR feels really bad. So that was not fun, so we kind of left the cage at 2025 after 4 months of trying that. So after that PvP attempt, it wasn't fun. Co-op felt like a surefire way. Well, you know, we envisioned players roaming the streets of New Braca, destroying bots together, focusing on what already worked in single-player campaign. If we have a campaign that you punch bots, let's do it together. That should be a way to release something multiplayer. So to traverse the streets of New Braca, we created a new mech that looks nimble and agile, and something that you can feel like you could leap from the rooftops of this fictional city. But PvE brought a new set of issues. In single player, we had room on the CPU for a single mech and maybe 6 enemies, and we're pushing it on the Quest 2. We're like a game that's trying to be at the forefront of what can be done on these devices. And now we need to maybe make it 3 players and 18 enemies. And also it had a bunch of other design issues that made it not fun, so we also scrapped that. And we needed something to ship. We're 2025, we're coming to the end of the year, and we didn't release anything to our players for a long time. So we wanted to hit Christmas, and we had 3 months. And last Christmas, we strapped jingle balls to our enemies. So this was a no-brainer for us. Let's just strap jingle balls to our mechs and make a mode based on snatching the balls of other players. So in those 3 months, we made a multiplayer game we now call Ball Tag. It's a multiplayer game based on movement. We introduced jumping and climbing, and we improved on locomotion, and we finally had the first thing that was actually fun to do in multiplayer. But getting something out meant productionizing our systems for a wide range of players. And it made us tackle one of the fears in PvP that we had when we were first talking about it while developing it, was how do we keep the game fair while every player is kind of running his own simulation. When we playtested Ball Tag, players were snatching balls from across the map. Someone about to score would just get his ball snatched because of lag, and that wasn't fair. So here we can use this grab mechanic to wait for an answer, and we built the snatch to favor the player that's being snatched from. So when a ball is being taken, we send a grab and wait for it to be approved by the other player if he sees you in a location that you can kind of approve it. And if it's too far away, this grab just fails, and you're not able to snatch the balls. And we made this helped us make the game fair for everyone, and we released it. And it was a semi-competitive game that made us think, oh, maybe we could do PvP again. Now we have something fun. Now we have the tech coming together. Maybe we can do it. So it was fun, but it was a gimmick, and even in Ball Tag, people were still finding ways to fight each other. That's what they wanted, and that's what we wanted to give them. We had all this great movement now, so we came back to PvP, and we thought, oh, let's make a PvP game based on movement. But our attempt came out feeling like jousts. You're like making a PvP game where all the players are moving fast and traversing the map, and you might line up a hit, but you get one hit in, and that's the engagement done. What we envisioned and we wanted for players to do is to hit each other in the face multiple times, not just like once and done. So after the first hit, we started freezing them in place and seeing what happens. But then we're back to the beach slapping contest that we had in the first cage. We didn't really know how to solve it. We needed to have a way to make a fight that's actually fun for both players. So we thought for a fight is only fun when initiative is traded back and forth. One player gets the upper hand while the other player is looking for his way back in. Fighting games, as we know them, live on that, and they've designed a whole language around it. Hit stun, frame advantage. If you've played any fighting game, you know how it is to get the punch and then you're not really able to react back at that same time. But VR makes this hard. It feels really bad to take the control away from the player. Every time we try to impose a limitation on the controls of the player, after a hit or a block, it really felt bad. And that's what killed our first PvP endeavor. So we needed an initiative to trade hands. So here's how we ended up doing it. So to build a real exchange, we have to be able to combo. follow your first hit with another consistently and predictably. Against the junk dogs, physics landed us reactions that was that reaction for free, and the fling was really fun to maybe punch a junk dog, see it react physically when you're punching it. It was fun, but now the mechs were light and nimble, and we could also maybe try it on the other player. But if we just do that and we're flinging the other player around the arena, you can't really follow up with the next punch. And physics is finicky mistress, and there is not really consistency in how much you can control. Can you actually follow up with another punch? So we stopped letting physics decide in that case. So instead of letting physics throw the other player, we kind of developed a new language that is based on rig responses. When you land a hit, the mech turns in place instead of getting flung out of reach. That solves two problems at once. You can follow up with the next hit, and the turn is also really fun to perform on the other player. Like you're bitch slapping him, he was like so hard that you're turning in 180. So that's fun. Finally, we have a way to hit the other players, and it's fun. And we created a language when you can steer the other player. So if you're punching him to the right, he's going to turn to his left, and you're punching him to the left, he's going to turn to his right. And that also creates disorientation that is used later. So hitting was fun, but there's a thing that should have made this whole idea a terrible thing to do in VR. Turning the player around in place should, in theory, feel really bad. Rotating something in VR, moving his camera without his control is one of the things that you're taught, and we know does not feel good in VR. But we had something going for us in our design. We are inside of mech, and you sit inside a cockpit, and the cockpit stays steady around you. So what you're kind of feeling is not that your camera is being rotated, is that your mech is being rotated. And you don't really feel that nausea that would come from the other way around. So everything's rotating around you, and it kind of felt good the first time we just tried it, and it was surprising. And then it fell into place. What surprised us that this kind of solved the hitting side and also the other side. Because of how the rig responses work, we never let a hit lock you from your controls. Yeah, we never take your control where it turns you, we push you, we might stall your movement, but you can always still defend and still counter. But you're now disoriented or you're trying to break out. It hands you a tighter situation, and the fun is reading exactly how it changed and finding your way out. Sometimes turning it around, and it's the same reason losing an arm in single player is fun instead of annoying. You're fighting from the ropes and clawing your way back into this story of glory. Put the two sides together and you've got a trade. And that's the point that we're missing. It was not that your control needs to be lost, but you need to hand the other player a tougher situation to get out of, and while you're pressing your situational advantage. And that's what you're trading back and forth. You're trading situations and not control. So it was fun to beat, and it was fun to take. And after this whole spiral, it finally worked. So PvP is out this week. You can play what I talked about if you have a VR headset. Three things we're taking with us on the tech. You can make physics game feel good over the net, and you can do it cheaply and let the physics get there instead of snapping and agree on the truth that matters. A hit, a grab, it's very doable. It's been scaring us off, but yeah, give it a shot. And the bigger one, design. A fight is fun for both players when you trade situation, not control. Make getting hit a spot to read and break out of, and not a punishment to sit through. And spiral of production, design. We didn't plan any of this. The cage wasn't the wrong idea. It was just an early one. And we will take it back. When we come back to PvP, we might have the missing ingredients to make it work. So thank you. If you have questions, there was like 5 minutes, I don't know. We're building on top of normal and spacetime DB, which is spacetime DB is used for matchmaking or more authoritative stuff, and normal is more the real-time layer. But every time you make this, you need to make your own decisions about what's actually important to transfer over the net, and what are you actually solving locally. So it doesn't really solve you that, but it gives you an underlying path to get the basics running. Screeching? Screen shake. Screen shake is also very not nice in VR, like if you're trying to shake the camera. But luckily we have a cage around the mech, so we can kind of shake that, and it feels better than it would be to shake the camera of the player. Anyone else? When we developed single-player Underdogs, we were trying to work around the issues with VR, which kind of putting it in a very blunt term is your dissonance from what you're feeling and what you're experiencing. And the mech was a solution for us to make physical interactions in this virtual world without having this dissonance that you're like interacting with something that you should feel but you're not feeling, which was how this came to be. Maybe it answers the question. Anyone else? Thank you.